Good morning, Commanders. How are we doing today, my friends? I hope you all are doing very well. In today's video, I want to go over the new Epic officer, if I'm saying this name right here, Dajash Tolra. I was very fortunate. I had some big building upgrades to do as I'm kind of trying to go to my next ops level. Not quite there yet, but I had some big building upgrades to do. And I was fortunate enough to land in the 5th place position, which gave me just enough charge to unlock her. So I wanted to do some testing, just some quick testing today. I wanted to go over the officer with you, talk about it, and share a couple of the logs and show you what I upload in the Spox Club so you can kind of see the results. I think kind of interesting and talk about my ideas, thoughts, and going forward where we're kind of sitting with all that. So anyways, let's hop into it. Why? Because the players matter. Okay, here we are, everyone. Let's first hop into base or into the officer, talk about the officer's abilities, and then we'll look at some of the battle logs and whatnot. So here we go. Let's go ahead and I'll sort by group. Should put her at the bottom. Alrighty, Dajash, I already took her to level 5 just to kind of get her abilities up a little bit. Anyways, okay, so we have the captain's ability, maneuver, whatever we want to call it. Increases base loot gained from armadas and hostiles by 60%. So if we go back and look at e-picard, his captain's prerogative, increases rewards gained from hostiles and armadas by 60% of base. So sounds very similar to how Picard should work with that. It just worded a little bit differently. It still says base loot. It says from base. So it sounds like it should be working the same, the 60%. So that's great. The one thing I don't have yet in game is unlocking Tolra, which he's going to decrease Armada invading entities base mitigation stats. So it's kind of like piercing. So it's kind of like pairing 5 of 11 with 6 of 11. So that's interesting. The one thing I have against the rare officers is that Scopely's kind of had a pattern lately of releasing the rare officers as pay only. I only have 9 shards so far, so I don't have synergy for her yet. Oh, Scopely. Anyways, it is what it is. Okay, so that's the captain's ability. Let's look at the officer one. 30%, 100% at max rank 5. Chance to increase base weapon shots by 100% every round against armadas and invading entities for 2 rounds. Cumulative. So that cumulative word right there is important. It's key. I think you're going to see a huge amount of shots that are being fired off once you have that have her maxed. What that's going to take, I don't know. I do believe that you're going to see some success using her as you solo armadas. I know some people in my range, I don't know if you're in the G4 range if this happens as much, but in our range, my range, it's like if I want to max my uncommon pulls in the Alliance store every day, it's like 10 million credits to do so. So that makes it very difficult. One interesting thing, though, is that something I've been struggling with, and I think many other people have been the Zindi armadas. So it'll be interesting how many people start using Dajash if you're able to unlock her, because you're able to do more damage and increase your loot at the same time. So that's an interesting kind of combination there. So we'll have to kind of see how that plays out, how everyone is able to implement Dajash. I keep pausing because I'm like, what's her name again? I have to look down. Dajash. Okay. So anyways, we'll see how that goes. We'll look at some of the testing that I did here. It was just some quick testing to get some results out to you all. And I'll show you the crews here in just a second. But I really think this is going to be pretty significant. it's almost like having a mix between e-picard and Miles. For those who don't know, just cover it for covering all the bases. Where is Miles? Let's see, DS9. There we go. Miles, he's on the top row there. So I've got him maxed for 3 rounds. Miles O'Brien has a 50% chance of increasing his shot against Armada by 100%. So he is currently higher than she is. But if you can have a loot officer that also increases the shots, who do you have? Maybe you have someone as synergy, you know, and this is only the first month. So are we going to have another officer next month that adds synergy as well? I like having criticals on the ship. So maybe you put Con or something like that in one of the officer slots. You go for a piercing officer, maybe 6 of 11, since I don't have the rare officer yet. There's a couple of options, or you put maybe Janeway, you know, an isolytic officer. So it kind of depends kind of what you're looking at there's a lot of different combinations we could look at, I think. But this is just videos just comparing Picard and her to kind of give you an idea there. So I wanted to give kind of a flavor for some of the initial testing and give you some thoughts of things you could try once you do unlock her. Okay, so now we've looked at that. Let me open up the ship. I'll talk about the bridge and the below decks. So what I did for testing is I basically left it like this. I just wanted to have a really basic, I mean, I could have put, for example, BLT or B'Elanna Torres below deck for the hull breach. You know, there's other officers I could put below deck, but I was really just trying to keep it very, very basic as far as let's just do a basic comparison of Picard's effectiveness compared to the new officer. Okay, and so the only difference I had here was I swapped that captain's seat for Picard for whatever her name is. Dajash Tolra. You can mock me for not being able to remember. I'm okay with that. Okay, so that's the only thing I switched out there was to do that. And then I went to some 54 uncommon armadas. And we can look at some of the battle reports here. So here is Picard and 11 million loot. So that was nice soloing it. Go back here, lost all my shield, completely gone. And I went down in my hull, okay, to 447 million. When I used Dajash, I didn't lose all my hull and I still had some shield left. So let's talk about the Picard. Oh, and actually about the same amount of loot. Very little bit from Armada to Armada, but basically about the same amount of loot. So that tracks. Okay, so back to Picard. We look at this and we see battle went 1 of 19 rounds. There's a critical, there's con procking, there's some more shots, criticals. I had 3 shots that round. Scroll down to 3 shots. So it depends upon your firing pattern, right? Okay, so 19 rounds. When we hop back here, there we go. Battle lasted 11 rounds, not quite half, but close. Okay, we have 1-2 shots, con proc, 1-2 shots, con proc. So I'm increasing chances for criticals with con. Yay. 1-2-3 shots, and she hasn't procced yet. Let's go to round 2. Okay, charging weapons. Then I have 1-2-3 shots. Let's see where she finally procs in round 3. Okay, so only 30% chance to proc, not very high. Once this gets max, it's going to be a fantastic ability. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. There's doubles the 2 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. Was it 5? 5 shots. So we'd have to look at a detailed look at the math there. But bottom line, she's popping a lot more shots. And when you're doing criticals as well, it's going to hurt. It's going to do a lot of damage. So this is where having the rare officer for the piercing would be helpful to make sure you're doing more damage. I like that it's cumulative. So yeah, you can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So that's fantastic. How many shots do we get that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots. I like it. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, look at that round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 9? 2, 3, 7, 8. 9 shots. That's fantastic. Okay, so she's doing more as the battle goes on, as it's critical. As we're doing critical shots, as she's proccing, it's cumulative. That's the word I meant to use, not critical. Cumulative, so she's doing a lot of damage because of those shots. Okay. Here, let me actually get rid of my camera so we can see that a little bit better here. So we've got the two, we're comparing one battle, one level 54 uncommon Romulan Armada. Estimated kills per hull, 12 compared to 4. Loot per hull, 137 million. So if I kept running solos, how would we do? Rounds 11 to 19, that's huge. Okay. Damage done, we're about the same amount of damage, it looks like percentage-wise. Bottom line, I think the main things I wanted to focus in on is just showing how effective this is. It looks like, and I'll put these results in case you want to see them in my Discord. By the way, once again, I always put the link to my Discord in the description below, so feel free to look at that. Join the Discord, add to the conversation, really trying to build a community of people helping each other. But here are the results. Fantastic difference. I think if you're going to solo these, Armada is going to be a great addition. If you are able to unlock her, or as they come out, hopefully with some kind of sourcing in game. We know how great Scopely is about sourcing. If you agree, put a comment below. The sourcing just is deplorable, right? But if they come out with additional sourcing, I'm thinking down the road, and for some of you, if you're in G4, this is like, maybe it doesn't even matter to you. If you're in G5 area, maybe low to mid G5, and you're looking towards the future, think about how they just came out with G6 solo armadas. Okay, those are armadas, and they came out with them as solos, I believe, because there's not that many G6 players. And why do group armadas when G6 players don't have other people to play with, if I can put it that way? And so think about G6 armadas, even if you just put in the back of your mind, I think she's going to be a fantastic officer, especially when tiered and max, when you are doing those G6 solos. So G6 solos, other armadas where you need to do a lot of damage, we'll just have to see how the sourcing goes, but I think she's going to be a great officer for doing damage to armadas and those solos. So whether you're heading to G6, good option, or if you're just trying to punch up to a higher level armada, I think she's a great officer that's still going to get you loot like Picard, but she's designed to do a lot of damage too. So anyways, hopefully that helps. Hopefully this kind of testing, this initial testing, gives you kind of some idea of where you might be sitting with whether she's valuable or not. Like I said, I mean, these spend events are crazy, right? I got pretty lucky. I feel like I had some stuff to invest, and so I decided to do that. But honestly, it may just be, it may be in the cards for you, it may not be. Maybe you'll only be able to get a couple of tiers of the spend event. But I think she's a great addition to help you punch up and do more damage on armadas, so you can take out more of them and get more loot. So anyways, there's a video. Love to hear from you, and we'll talk to you next time.